Welcome to your personal deep dive. Today, we're going way beyond like your typical IQ and stuff. We're diving into the fascinating world of emotional intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
We have a great source for this deep dive, a YouTube video summarizing some key ideas from the book Search Inside Yourself by Chade-Meng Tan.
Okay.
Get ready to unlock a whole new level of understanding yourself and others.
I am excited to break this down. Emotional intelligence is so powerful. It's just so often misunderstood.
It really is. So
Yeah.
first things first, what exactly is emotional intelligence?
Yeah.
I feel like we hear that term all the time, but
Yeah.
what does it actually mean, like in a practical sense?
Well, it challenges the idea that intelligence is just your IQ score.
Yeah.
Like that old school way of thinking about it. There's a Harvard psychologist named Howard Gardner,
Okay.
and he put forward this theory of multiple intelligences.
So instead of just having one intelligence,
Oh.
there are actually many.
Yes. And emotional intelligence is one of them. And when it comes to emotional intelligence, there are two main types.
Okay.
You have intrapersonal and interpersonal.
Okay.
So intrapersonal is all about knowing yourself.
Oh.
Your feelings, your motivations, what you're good at, what you're not so good at. It's like having this deep self-awareness to understand what makes you tick.
Okay, so that's inward, that's looking inward.
Yeah.
And then interpersonal, that's more about relating to others?
Yes. Being tuned in to the emotions and needs of the people around you. Being able to read a room, so to speak. Understanding the kind of emotional dynamics that are at play.
So it's like having a strong sense of your own inner world,
Yeah.
but also how to navigate the emotional landscape of the world around you.
Yes. Now, another psychologist, Daniel Goleman, he took us further and he kind of outlined 5 components of emotional intelligence.
Okay.
These are self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. And so these really flesh out what it means to be emotionally intelligent.
Okay, so it sounds like we're talking about more than just warm and fuzzy feelings here.
Right,
This is
yeah.
real world implications, I
Yeah.
think, especially when we're talking about how we perform at work.
Oh, absolutely. Impacts everything from leadership to, teamwork to, making decisions. For example, Martin Seligman, his research on insurance agents showed that those who were more optimistic sold significantly more policies.
Wow. So just by being more optimistic.
Well, and Seligman concluded that it wasn't just luck,
Right.
that these optimistic agents, they possess these stronger emotional intelligence skills, things like staying motivated in the face of setbacks, keeping impulses in check, and forming stronger connections with clients.
So they were able to harness
Yeah.
and then see.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it translated into better performance.
Tangible results.
Tangible results, yes.
That's incredible. So it's not just about like feeling good, but it's about like equipping yourself to actually navigate challenges and achieve your goals
Yes.
more effectively.
Exactly. We see this play out in leadership as well.
Yeah.
So think of someone like Gerald Grinstein, the former CEO of Delta Airlines.
Okay.
He faced really tough decisions.
Right.
Massive cost-cutting measures, things like that.
I can imagine that must have been so difficult to navigate. What, set him apart as a leader in that moment?
Well, his approach was rooted in emotional intelligence.
Okay.
He understood the importance of creating a really positive and supportive environment, even when they're facing challenges.
Right.
And this allowed him to maintain open communication, with his team, keep morale up, and ultimately, guide the company through a really turbulent time.
So even when things are tough,
Yeah.
that strong sense of interpersonal intelligence
Yeah.
can really make all the difference. What about people who might not feel naturally empathetic or self-aware?
Right.
Can you actually learn and develop
Yes.
emotional intelligence?
You absolutely can.
It's like, Scrooge in A Christmas Carol.
Yes.
Like, can a grumpy soul
Yeah.
actually transform?
You absolutely can strengthen your emotional intelligence. It takes effort and practice like any skill, but it is completely possible. And your Scrooge analogy is perfect. That story so beautifully illustrates the potential for transformation.
Right.
Even someone who starts off seemingly lacking in empathy can evolve and become more emotionally intelligent.
Okay, so that's encouraging. So where do we even begin to build this emotional muscle?
Right.
The source material that we're looking at today suggests meditation, particularly mindfulness.
Okay.
But to be honest, meditation can sometimes feel a little, ooh,
I hear you.
you know what I mean?
I do. But the benefits of mindfulness extend far beyond just relaxation. Think of it less about chanting and incense and more like a mental workout.
Okay.
It strengthens your ability to focus and be present in the moment. It's about training your attention.
So we're talking brain training more than anything else.
Precisely. So mindfulness improves what we call attention and meta-attention.
Okay.
So attention is simply focusing on what's happening around you. Meta-attention is being aware of when your mind wanders.
Oh.
So it's like having this internal observer who can gently guide your focus back
Oh, I like
to the task at hand.
So it's almost like hitting the reset button for your brain.
Yes.
Bringing you back to that state of calm focus.
I can definitely see the appeal in that,
Right.
especially in our constantly distracted world.
Exactly. It helps you cut through the noise and regain clarity.
Yeah.
And there's actually research suggesting that this default state that we return to through mindfulness is actually one of happiness.
Wait, are you telling me our brains are naturally wired for happiness?
Yes.
And meditation can help us tap into that?
Yes.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued.
All right.
But how do we actually do it?
Right.
What does mindfulness look like in practice? It's simpler than you might think. Find a comfortable position where you can sit upright, and alert. Take a few deep breaths, and then just let your breathing become natural. As you breathe, just pay attention to the sensation of each inhale and each exhale. Notice the rise and fall of your chest, the feeling of the air moving through your nostrils.
Okay.
And when your mind wanders, which it inevitably will,
Yeah.
just gently guide your attention back to your breath.
I see.
That's the essence of it.
I love that you gave us like a specific technique to try because
Yeah.
it makes it feel so much more approachable.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about another crucial element of emotional intelligence, and that is self-awareness.
Yes.
It's like shining a spotlight on your own thoughts and feelings.
Self-awareness is essential for success because it helps us identify and manage those negative thoughts and self-talk that can really hold us back.
Oh, I think we've all been there.
Right.
That inner critic can be so loud sometimes. How does self-awareness actually help us overcome that?
Okay, well, psychologists Gary Shearness and Robert Kaplan, they studied the impact of self-awareness training on financial advisors at American Express.
Interesting.
And the results were fascinating.
Okay, tell me more. What did they discover?
They found that the training actually empowered the advisors to quiet that inner critic and combat those negative self-defeating thoughts.
Okay.
As a result, they became more confident and bolder in their work, and it led to better performance and even higher earnings.
So their inner critic got quieter?
Yes.
They felt more confident?
Yeah.
And then ultimately had better outcomes?
Exactly.
That's incredible.
It is. And it's not just about feeling better internally.
Right.
Self-awareness also helps you recognize how you typically react to stress. Once you understand your stress response, you can develop strategies to manage it more effectively.
So instead of just reacting,
Yes.
you have a game plan to navigate those difficult moments.
Precisely.
Like that.
You become more proactive and less reactive, which is a game changer in any high-pressure situation. The author of our source material, Chade-Meng Tan, actually shares a great anecdote about using self-awareness to overcome nervousness before speaking at the World Peace Festival in Berlin.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty high-stakes situation.
Yeah.
I can imagine feeling some nerves there.
Yeah.
How did he use self-awareness to manage that?
So he was understandably intimidated,
Yeah.
but instead of letting his emotions spiral,
Right.
he used mindfulness techniques to kind of ground himself and tap into a calmer state. He acknowledged his feelings of nervousness, but then consciously shifted his focus to remind himself of his strengths as a speaker.
So he acknowledged his emotions, but didn't let them take control.
Right.
He used his thinking brain
Yeah.
to create a sense of calm and focus amidst the nerves.
Exactly. He also acknowledged potential weaknesses, like, occasionally slipping up when he was speaking English. And he reminded himself of strategies to minimize those. So he basically used self-awareness to create a mental game plan for success.
That's brilliant. So he used self-awareness not only to manage his nerves,
Yeah.
but also to identify potential challenges
Yes.
and proactively plan for them.
Exactly. And the result was a confident and successful presentation.
Wow.
So it's a testament to the power of self-awareness to help us perform at our best, even under pressure.
I love that. It's amazing how we can use self-awareness as like a tool to not only manage our emotions, but also enhance our performance.
Yeah, it's incredibly empowering.
All right, well, let's move on to another fascinating aspect of emotional intelligence, and that's motivation.
Oh, yeah.
What really drives us to succeed?
Right.
Is it all about those external rewards, like money and recognition? Or is there something deeper at play?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's one that Tony Hsieh, the late CEO of Zappos, really explored in depth. He built this incredibly successful company, and he believed that happiness was the key ingredient, not just for his customers, but for his employees as well.
So instead of just chasing profits,
Hmm.
he prioritized creating a culture of happiness
Yeah.
as a driver of success.
Yeah, that was his philosophy.
Interesting.
And, clearly worked for him. He actually identified 3 key sources of happiness in the workplace.
Okay, break those down for me. What are they?
Okay, so you have pleasure,
Okay.
passion, and higher purpose.
Okay, so pleasure, passion, and higher purpose. What do those actually look like practically speaking?
Okay, so pleasure is that instant gratification we get from things like bonuses or praise or perks.
Right.
It's a nice boost,
Yeah.
but it's fleeting.
Okay.
Passion is about being so engaged in your work
Uh-huh.
that you kind of enter this state of flow
Right.
where you're challenged but not overwhelmed.
I've been there.
Yeah.
It's like incredible. You're just completely absorbed.
Yes.
And it feels almost effortless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's passion in action. And then finally, there's higher purpose, and that's that sense of being part of something bigger than yourself.
Oh, wow.
Knowing that your work has meaning and contributes to a greater good.
So it's like finding that sweet spot where you enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
You're good at it.
Yeah.
And you feel like it matters.
Yes.
The grand scheme of things.
That's the trifecta.
Wow.
She believed that cultivating these 3 sources of happiness was essential for creating just a thriving and fulfilling work environment.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. When people are genuinely happy and engaged, they're more likely to be productive and creative and committed to their work.
Absolutely. So it's a powerful reminder that, true motivation goes beyond those external rewards. It's about creating a culture where people feel valued and inspired and connected to a shared purpose.
That leads us perfectly to another cornerstone of emotional intelligence, and that's empathy.
Yes.
It's about stepping into someone else's shoes and truly understanding their perspective, even if it's different from our own.
Yeah, it's about going beyond just acknowledging someone's feelings
Right.
and making a genuine effort to see the world through their eyes. The source material actually shares a very moving anecdote about an empathy exercise that the author did with his partner.
Oh, I love practical exercises. What was it?
So they took turns, really listening to each other talk about their feelings.
Mhm.
And the key was to listen without judgment or interruption,
Right.
and then to try to rephrase what you heard in your own words,
Got it.
just to ensure that you understand correctly.
So it's really about
Active listening
active listening.
and reflection.
That sounds simple, yet incredibly powerful.
It is. And by the end of the exercise, the author's partner was deeply moved. She said she had never felt so truly heard and understood before.
I think that speaks volumes about how much we all crave that feeling of truly being seen and understood on a deep level.
It's a fundamental human need.
It really is.
Now imagine the impact this type of empathy could have in your own life.
Yeah.
What if we approached, every conversation, whether with loved ones, colleagues, even strangers,
Right.
with this level of intention and presence?
It would certainly transform the way we communicate and connect with one another.
Absolutely. And the source material offers some concrete empathy exercises
Okay.
that you can actually try. One is called Just Like Me.
Okay, just like me. I like that. How does it work?
So it's about finding common ground.
Okay.
Even with people who seem very different from you on the surface, the core idea is to remind yourself that despite those differences, you both share these basic human desires.
Right.
To be happy, to be loved, to feel safe and secure.
So recognizing our shared humanity.
Exactly. And it helps break down those walls that we often erect between ourselves and others. Another powerful exercise is loving kindness meditation.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. It's about sending good vibes and positive energy to others.
Yes. But it goes deeper than that. It's about actively cultivating feelings of loving kindness towards others, even those you might find difficult.
Okay, so that's a challenge, I think, especially when it comes to people who we might have conflict with.
It can be, but the way you do it is you start by directing these feelings towards yourself, then towards someone you love, then a neutral person, then someone you find challenging,
Wow.
and then finally towards all beings everywhere.
So it's like a ripple effect of compassion.
Yes.
It just keeps expanding outwards to encompass more and more people.
Exactly. So it's a beautiful practice for strengthening those empathy muscles.
I love that.
and opening our hearts to a wider circle of compassion.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, so let's bring all this together and talk about leadership.
Okay.
Can emotional intelligence actually make you a better leader?
The source material makes a strong case for this. They talk about compassionate leadership, which is characterized by kindness and warmth and genuine care for those you lead. And this is, far more effective than a domineering or authoritarian approach.
I've definitely had bosses who ruled with an iron fist, and it never created a positive or productive environment. People felt stifled. They were afraid to speak up.
It's so common, unfortunately, but leadership scholars Jim Cuses and Barry Posner, they did some research and they found something really interesting, that affection was a key characteristic of successful leaders.
Affection. So, like, actually caring about the people you lead.
Precisely. It's about connecting with people on a human level, showing vulnerability, and fostering open and honest communication, creating a safe and supportive space where people feel valued and respected.
So it's not about being aloof or wielding power over others.
Right.
It's about creating that sense of trust and genuine connection.
Exactly. It's about inspiring people to do their best, not by demanding or controlling, but by empowering them to grow and contribute their unique talents.
It sounds like compassionate leadership is all about creating that environment where people actually feel supported and empowered to do their best work.
Yeah, that's the essence of it. It's about tapping into that sense of higher purpose that we talked about and creating a shared vision that everyone can get behind.
And when people feel connected to that, it ignites their own intrinsic motivation.
Exactly. It's not about forcing or coercing.
Right.
It's about inspiring, empowering.
It's amazing how all these concepts that we've explored, from self-awareness to motivations to empathy, it all kind of weaves together to paint this complete picture of emotional intelligence.
It really does. And it highlights how vital emotional intelligence is, not just for succeeding at work, but for leading a more fulfilling life overall.
It's not just about being a better employee or a more effective leader. It's about being a better human being.
That's beautifully put. It's about cultivating those qualities of self-awareness, empathy, and compassion that allow us to really connect with others on a deeper level and create more positive and meaningful relationships.
And that's what this deep dive into emotional intelligence has been all about. We've explored those key components, uncovered the science behind it, and even learned some practical techniques to develop these skills in our own lives.
I hope you're feeling inspired to put some of these insights into practice.
I hope so too. And remember, this isn't about achieving some kind of emotional perfection or anything like that. It's about embracing this journey of continuous growth and learning. It's those small, consistent efforts that we make each day to become more self-aware, more empathetic, more compassionate individuals.
Absolutely. It's an ongoing process.
It is.
And the rewards are immeasurable.
So as we wrap up our deep dive today, here's a question to ponder. What's one small step that you can take today to nurture your own emotional intelligence? Maybe it's trying that mindfulness exercise that we talked about, or practicing active listening with a loved one, or even just taking some time to reflect on your own emotional strengths and areas for growth.
Every step we take, no matter how small, it brings us closer to unlocking our full potential.
Until next time, keep diving.